must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you for finding time to being with us this afternoon. My name is Miriam Ogutu. The show is Diaspora Dispatches, where I get to bring you the latest from the continent of Africa. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are tuned in today. And let's just get into it, and we start with Algeria, where the leader of the Western Sahara separatist group arrived in Algeria early on Wednesday after leaving a hospital in Spain where he was being treated for COVID-19. Brahim Ghali, the Polisario front leader, left Spain at 1:40 local time, p.m. on a chartered plane. The move came after a judge in Madrid turned down a request by prosecutor to detain him in relation to alleged human rights abuses. His presence in Spain had triggered a diplomatic row between Spain and Morocco, which claims sovereignty over Western Sahara, a former Spanish colony. And then we head over to South Africa, and South Africa's power company Eskom has announced load shedding or scheduled blackouts that will last until Friday. The state-owned electricity provider said this will be implemented from 10 a.m. today until 10 p.m. on Friday, and it attributed this to further breakdowns of 2 power generating units as well as delays in returning others to service. And then we go to Chad, and human rights organization Amnesty International has asked Chad to ensure officers involved in the killings during the demonstrations in April and May are prosecuted. Civil society groups and political parties held demonstrations calling for a return of constitutional order after the death of former President Idris Deby Itno. The president's son, a 4-star military general, has been in charge of the country. The protests, which had been burned, were met with brutal force by security forces. Hundreds of demonstrators were arrested and dozens killed. Amnesty International and other civil society organizations have in the past called for an investigation into the deaths. And then we go to Uganda, and Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has vowed to defeat the criminals who shot and wounded a former army commander, killing his daughter and a driver. Army spokesperson described it as an assassination attempt on Gen Katumba Wamala and said security forces were investigating a number of phone calls that may provide leads. The attack on the current government Minister of Works and Transport, who has also headed Uganda's police force, is not the first high-profile shooting. In recent years, victims have included a magistrate, Muslim cleric, a politician, and an ardent supporter of President Museveni, a senior police chief. None of the murders has ever been successfully investigated or prosecuted. And then we go to Mali, and Mali's transitional president, Colonel Assimi Goïta, has named Chaguel Kobala Maiga as the country's new civilian prime minister. Mr. Maiga is a leader of the M5 RFP movement, the group which led anti-government protests last year over rising insecurity, alleged corruption, and a failing economy. The discontent resulted in the army overthrowing Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta as president last August. A civilian-led transitional government was set up, but its prime minister and president were ousted last month by Colonel Goïta. He was vice president at the time and accused them of violating the transitional agreement after a cabinet reshuffle, which saw 2 senior army officers replaced. The African Union and West African ECOWAS have both suspended Mali, calling for return to civilian rule and elections to be held as planned next February. And then we go to Nigeria, and Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has warned that his government will not tolerate any action promoting crime and insurrection in the country. He was responding to the rising wave of attacks, especially on government facilities in the southeastern part of the country. His statement followed a briefing by the head of Nigeria's electoral body, INEC, whose offices in parts of the southwest were burnt down by unknown arsonists. Police stations have also been a target, with many policemen killed in attacks blamed on gunmen. He asked the head of security agencies to rise to the challenges confronting the country. Separatist groups in the region have been agitating for a breakaway state. Similar demands led to a civil war between 1967 and 1970, in which more than 3 million people were killed. And of course, the president, who is a Biafra war veteran, ended by saying many of those misbehaving today are too young to be aware of the destruction and loss of lives that occurred during the Nigerian Civil War. And then we go over to Mali, and Mali has suspended for the African Union, Mali has been suspended from the African Union following last week's military coup for the second time in 9 months. The first was last August following a military coup, but the country was reinstated after the heads of a civilian-led transitional government was announced. Now that the administration has been overthrown, and so once again Mali finds itself excluded. The AU in a statement called for a return of civilian government, saying it will not hesitate to impose sanctions and other punitive measures unless troops were urgently ordered to return back to the barracks. On Monday, leaders of the West African bloc ECOWAS also suspended Mali's membership, calling on the military government to adhere to the 18-month transitional period towards presidential elections next February. Colonel Assimi Goïta, who led the coup, was appointed transitional president by the country's constitutional court 4 days ago. And then we go to Ethiopia, and a recording purporting to be Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed saying he would rather die than hand over power is fake, the Prime Minister's office has said. The audio clip was published by Kelo Media, a media company based in the US that describes itself a non-partisan, which said it was recorded at a high-level meeting of the ruling Prosperity Party. In the clip, a voice is heard as saying, and I will quote, "I can tell you this, and there's no doubt or mystery about it. We have won the election. No one will be able to form a government in the coming 10 years. I would rather die than hand over power to them." And then the remarks had to be followed by an applause. The government says the audio has been stitched together using different speeches. The Prime Minister's office issued a statement just after the audio was posted. And then we go to another situation between Chad and the Central African Republic, and an attack that killed Chadian soldiers at a border post with the Central African Republic will be investigated jointly by the two nations following a high-level meeting on Tuesday that sought to ease the tensions. Chad has blamed the strike on the Central African Republic Army, calling it a war crime that will not go unpunished. But the Central African Republic had blamed the incident on the rebels. It said its forces were tracking. The Central African Republic said, after expressing surprise of the incident, forcefully denounced it and extended its sincere sympathies to the government and the people of Chad. Central African Republic often accuses its neighbor in the north of providing support to armed rebels groups from within Chad. The two sides acknowledged the need of understanding the circumstances behind the attack and decided to form an independent international commission of investigation. Both parties agreed to work together to enhance border security. And then the latest on the Nile dispute, Egypt and Sudan wrapped up 6 days of war games on Monday, held against a backdrop of rising tension with Ethiopia. For the past week, members of the Sudanese and Egyptian armed forces took part in the Guardians of the Nile joint military drill in Sudan's southern Kordofan state. Military maneuvers, which involved naval and air force units as well as ground troops, were intended to upgrade the joint capabilities and enhance harmony between the two countries. The military exercise, Egyptian Chief of Staff General Mohammed Farid says, is being conducted amid challenges and threats and the possibility of their escalation. While the chiefs of staff from the two countries made no direct mention of Ethiopia in their comments, they made it clear that the drills were meant to send a message to Addis Ababa and that they were ready to intervene militarily against the dam if needed. And then we conclude with South Sudan. 4 people, including a parish priest, a child, have been killed by men in uniform in Lainya, a county's central equatorial state, a church leader has told iRadio. Paul Yugusuk, Archbishop of the Central Equatoria State, internal province of the Episcopal Episcopal Church of South Sudan, says Pastor Komas Kwajima Tayo was picked along with 3 church members while leading a Sunday service at Gov't on Sunday. They were taken to some location and later killed in cold blood. The church leader explained other deceased are 10-year-old Simon Taban, an altar servant, Moses Wani, the area chief, and Loki Ebibayo, the elder of the Gov't ECSS Church. Archbishop Yugusuk went on to call on the army leadership to investigate into the killing and find the perpetrators to hold them to account. And that is the latest from the continent this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you. It is afternoon here, 10 minutes past 3 p.m. East African time here in Nairobi. A beautiful weather. I don't know how the weather is where you are, but indeed it is a beautiful day here in Kenya. So now let's just get into that press conference that I think President Buhari had yesterday. He had a meeting with the members of the Independent Electoral Commission in Nigeria, who were, I think, updating him on, they had a meeting, and so the issue came up, and other leadership, of course, in Nigeria, and they talked about a couple of issues there. And so President Buhari has warned that the government will not, of course, tolerate any action promoting crime and insurrection in the country. And it was such a long speech there. Let me see if I can find parts of it. I could read you what President Buhari said. So in tweets, this is what he earlier tweeted. Okay, and he said, I receive daily security reports on the attacks on critical national infrastructure, and it is very clear that those behind them want this administration to fail. All right. And then he continues to say, whoever wants the destruction of the system will soon have the shock of their lives. We've given them enough time. Whoever wants the destruction of the system will have a shock of their lives. So there must be zero tolerance of all those who bent on destroying our country by promoting crime and insurrection. I think that was directed to the security apparatus in Nigeria. And the president on Tuesday, he said that the people who are behind the security problems in the country is saying their time is up, and soon the security apparatus will apprehend them. But also he brought in the issue of, I think, Biafra, and he also said that the people who want to secede, that will be the IPOB, they're saying you guys were too young to know loss of lives and other tragedies that attended the Nigerian Civil War of 1967. Like, you're too young to know what was really happening during that time. Sorry, and I think, was it on Monday when Biafrans were commemorating their 54th, independence, commemorating what happened, back then. We were having this, conversation. So I think it is the sit-at-home order that must have triggered President Buhari to come now and address this issue. And he's saying a lot of you who are agitating right now for secession, you're too young to remember, to even know what happened, back then. And he's saying these were contained. Of course, the statements were contained in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, titled, "Those who want to destroy this country have shock coming their way," says President Buhari. So that was the title of this speech. How interesting. How very interesting. And I like the way sometimes Nigerians, the words you choose. I was listening to one, press conference that was done. I think we were having this conversation here on Monday. And is it one of the people there, I can't remember who, but he's a significant public figure there in Nigeria. And I was just trying to read through the the statement that he had issued to the press, and I could hardly understand. I think sometimes the language is what I don't know. It's just a lot. But anyway, he's saying now this speech by the president. That's the title. That's what we're looking at before we continue and see the content of this statement by President Buhari. This, the statement was titled, "Those who want to destroy the country have a shock coming their way." All right? Okay? Yes. So you better be prepared, President Buhari said. So since the president's re-election in 2019, the insecurity in the country has worsened, with many parts of northeast under attack by Boko Haram insurgents. Other zones, which were hitherto peaceful, have been witnessing kidnappings and killings by armed herdsmen and bandits. And I think on Monday we were here talking about that other kidnapping that happened. Was it on Sunday at 3 p.m. And after his meeting with the INEC, that is the Independent Electoral Commission in Nigeria, chairman and commissioners, on Tuesday, Buhari issued a stern warning to those who are eager to decimate the country by promoting insurrection and burning down critical national assets. He said, I receive daily security reports on the attacks, and it is very clear that those behind them want this administration to fail. So they're saying those people who are targeting these government buildings, those people who are targeting, police stations, and because a couple of times have come here and we have news of police stations that have been attacked there, All right, so he's saying that, for those who are behind that, the government will come for you. And so whoever who wants the destruction of the system will soon have the shock of their lives. We have given them enough time. So he's saying enough is enough. And also he said that insecurity in Nigeria is now mentioned all over the world. Did you just realize this has been a concern for the rest of us for the longest period now? President Buhari just woke up and realized, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria is such a big deal that the rest of the world is talking about it. We've been looking at insecurity in Nigeria, I think, for a very long time now, because the insecurity in Nigeria has been very rampant, has been escalating by every waking day. And I think of concern has been the manner in which the government has not been able to contain this situation, and the government has not been able to successfully come with strategies and means and ways to actually address this, even attempt to address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. So the rest of the world has been talking, President Buhari. The rest of the world has been concerned by the level of insecurity in Nigeria. The rest of the world has been sitting and hoping, when will President Buhari get his act in order and address the issue of insecurity in Nigeria? So, I don't know if I'm surprised or it's just, amusing. I'm not sure that it's right now you're seeing that now you're worried that insecurity in Nigeria is now being mentioned all over the world. Of course it is. When you have students being abducted in their schools every waking day, when you have children being thrown at a grenade when they're playing out in the fields, when you're having people, murdered and their heads, cut off when they're harvesting rice in some rice puddle in the northern Nigeria, when you're having people being driven away from their homes in the middle of the night by bandits, what do you expect? And it's not one person or two person, killed in these incidents. It's a lot of people who get affected. And even if it was just one person, every life matters. It is something that we have to talk about. So now President Buhari is saying that the insecurity in Nigeria is now mentioned all over the world. All the people who want power, whoever they are, you wonder what they really want. No, President Buhari, we do not want power. Matter of fact, we don't even have interest, in Nigerian issues like that. But I think there are things that are very important and pivotal, because what we know is the insecurity that your administration has allowed to thrive in Nigeria is not only affecting Nigeria, but now has also spread in other countries. And that's why it is a concern, not only in the Sahel region, but also this is something that could go and affect a majority of other parts in Africa. And that's why people talk. That's why the media will highlight what is happening at President Buhari. Nobody wants to come there and replace you, but we're just stating the obvious. So he's saying these people who are talking about this insecurity, now it's because they want power, and whoever they are, you wonder what they really want. No, what they really want is for Nigeria to be safe. What they really want is for the children of Nigeria to go to school and come back home without being abducted. What the people who are talking about the insecurity of Nigeria want is for you, sir, to get your act in order and do right by the people of Nigeria. And that's why people are talking. And that's why we bring this to the attention of the world every single day. So it's good that you've noticed. It's good now you're paying perhaps attention to it. So what now is expected is you will These meetings you've been having by the heads of security in Nigeria for quite a while now. I wonder what they have. I wonder what kind of fruits they have bore, because I'm not seeing any difference. I've not seen any changes. I've not seen anything. To show that actually perhaps something is being done. The strategy is working. So you left us with no choice. We have to keep talking, President Buhari. And you're saying whoever wants the destruction of the system will soon have the shock of their lives. We've given them enough time. Are you referring to the Boko Haram? Are you referring to the bandits? Who are you referring to in this regard? So speaking on the dangers that the banning of INEC facilities, that is the Nigerian Electoral Commission's facility, would pose to the 2023 general elections, Buhari said he would give the Electoral Commission all it needed to operate in that statement. So now, the PDP, in its reaction, that is is it the People's Democratic Party? But it's a party in Nigeria. The PDP, in its reaction to the president's statement, asked him to match his words with action and lead fight against insecurity from the front. So see, it's not just the rest of the world who is talking. Even people in Nigeria, they are concerned. And the PDP, a renowned party in Nigeria, is coming out and saying, hey, Mr. President, empty rhetorics is not helping our children. Empty rhetorics is not assuring our other families. Empty rhetorics is not protecting Nigerians. Can you merge what you're saying with some action, please? That will make sense, because you've been talking, you've been tweeting. I don't know why you even tweet about certain things, President Buhari. What people need to see is security assured. So whatever you say, the PDP is telling you that has to match it with some action, match it with some reassurance. Do something, change your strategy, assure people of Nigeria of their security. So National Publicity Secretary for the PDP, Kola Ologbo Diyan, stated that this in an interview with the Punch media. I'm sure you are familiar with that. And this is what is quoted as saying, on the issue of security, the expectation of Nigerians is that Mr. President should lead the battle against insecurity from the front like he promised during his electioneering. All right. But the inactions of Mr. President today are responsible for the deluge of insecurity that has affected our nation. The expectation of Nigerians, furthermore, is that these challenges should not be limited to the issues of lip talk. Rather, they should be confronted so that Nigerians can sleep with their two eyes closed. That's all we're saying. All right, that's all we've been trying to say for those who have been praising the issue of insecurity. And PDP, a party there, is reminding you, Mr. President Buhari, and he continued to say that the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakub, and other national commissioners met with the president, His Excellency, on the 1st of June, and briefed him in the spate of attacks on the Commission's offices. I think that is the INC officials, and of course the Pan-Yoruba social political organization, Afeni Fere, advised Buhari to solve various challenges facing the country rather than threatening the agitators. So what the Pan-Yoruba social political group is saying, stop with the sideshows, stop targeting their own groups, President Buhari. Stop with the things that don't even matter. You're targeting groups, like the IPOB coming out and saying that a lot of them are too young to remember what happened in 1967 to 1970. I was not even born then, but I'm fully aware of what happened there because history books recorded what happened during that time. But you cannot divert your attention to that. Well, half the country is in flames, President Buhari, right now. Stop focusing on things that, that you're not even supposed to be focusing on right now. Focus on the things that Nigerians need for you to focus on. So stop with the sideshows and address what you need to be addressing. And that is what Pan-Yoruba social political organization, I think, is telling President Buhari, rather than threatening the agitators, rather than targeting this and that group, could you focus on the real people who are bringing insecurity in Nigeria? And a chieftain of the organization and outgoing Secretary General Bosherun Sehinde Arogbofa, who spoke with one of the correspondents at the Punch, said the country was in a state of failure and there was a need for the president to do the needful. So all these people, our President Buhari, cannot be wrong. Your former predecessors are complaining. The people of Nigeria are complaining. I was reading another story and watching these mothers in Nigeria who were really complaining. Nigerians the other day were protesting. It's chaos in Nigeria. Everybody cannot be wrong. Everybody cannot be wrong. And now you're saying, you're reducing this to, see how you've reduced this matter, that the people who criticize the insecurity in the country, you wonder what they want. And now you're saying maybe they just want to be elected and they want political post. You're reducing this, you're politicizing something that should not be politicized. People's security is paramount, and you cannot, go east or west, people's security is paramount. And as the president of the federal state of Nigeria, your first and very cardinal responsibility is to ensure and to assure the people of Nigeria have the security that they need. So instead of addressing that, you want to bring in the sideshows. You want to look for a scapegoat and blame this group and blame those who want to secede and threaten those who are agitating for certain issues to be fixed there in Nigeria. No. You have to address the issue of security head-on, President Buhari. And meanwhile, a former governor of Ondo State, Olusegun Mimiko, on Tuesday said the president would not be judged based on provision of infrastructure, but his inability to secure lives and property. This is another different person, the governor of Ondo State. His name is Olusegun Mimiko. Now, Mimiko stated this in Abuja on Tuesday yesterday at the 71st birthday celebration of a former member of the House Representative Joseph Akinlaja. And the former governor stated, Mr. President will not be judged by the number of kilometers of standard gauge railway. History will not judge his accomplishments through the Second Niger Bridge, but to what extent he rises up and addresses insecurity in our nation. This is the time to face our challenges as a nation, and we shall conquer. So everybody is bringing this to your attention, President Buhari. All right? It's not the media. It's not the international players. It's not the politicians even. Although this one is a politician, a former governor. But this is something that is a real threat. This is a real issue to the people of Nigeria. So stop with the politicking, President Buhari. And the former governor also said the National Assembly was incapacitated to repeal the 1999 Constitution. Remember, we were talking about this the other time, calling for additional powers that will enable Parliament to initiate a new constitution. And all right, so a former Secretary General of the National Union of Petroleum and Gas Workers, Frank Okori, recalled how oil workers frustrated the military junta out of the office and his experience in a cell in Parma for 4 years. So that also goes ahead. And today enjoys democracy no matter how benevolent the military regime. So he's saying he's fine with what Buhari is doing there in the country. But I don't know, what are your thoughts? This new threat by President Buhari, and the governor there is saying enough of the talk, enough of the rhetoric, enough of the threats, President Buhari. Could your action match your word? If you're going to say people of Nigeria needs to be safe, can you now do something that matches what you're saying? Because talk is cheap, and you've been tweeting for a while now. You've been talking for a while now, and nothing seems to change. So enough with the talk, enough with the threats, enough with all of these, things that really don't matter, and the side shows. And could you now address the issues that actually are of importance there? And so, of course, Buhari said that the secessionists, that will be the IPOB and others, she's saying you guys are too young to know how lives and other tragedies that attended the Nigerian Civil War of 1967. And as we all know, President Buhari was part of President Buhari was part of, he is a Biafran War veteran, and so he knows firsthand perhaps what happened. And before we go any further, I almost forgot, we had a video, part of what President Buhari was talking about yesterday during that meeting. So let's just take a listen to it, and then we will continue with this conversation.
It is very clear that intend to make sure that this administration fails. I'm getting good intelligence report on daily basis. The question of insecurity in the country is being mentioned all over the world, not only here in Nigeria. But I believe there are Nigerians that will attempt at least to be fair by what I believed, that I will run the country according to the Constitution. Now, with all these people who want power, whoever they are, have they proved that I was not following the Constitution? Well, am I not leading the country according to the Constitution? What do they want? I had one impression which gave me a lot of hope and confidence to continue the way I wanted. So whoever wanted diversion or destruction of the system at this point, I think will soon have their shock of their lives. I think we have given them enough latitude. They have made their case. They just wanted to destroy the country. Simple. Because what do they want? And we are concentrating on infrastructure because no country or institution can be developed without infrastructure.
All right, very well. That is President Buhari speaking yesterday and is wondering, what do you people want? You know, I'm leading the country according to the Constitution of Nigeria, so what do you want there? President Buhari lamenting over the increased complaints that he's been getting, especially over insecurity in Nigeria, and of course for the people who are agitating for a secession like the IPOB, a family and others. He's asking, what do you want? I'm leading this country according to the Constitution. All right, so what is it that you want? President Buhari does not understand why it is so difficult for you guys to just stick it on and try to just stay and be contained there in Nigeria. He's sounding very helpless there. If that was my president speaking, he's not even inspiring any level of confidence. First of all, I don't know if he's well. He seems quite frail there. So I don't know, President Buhari, if you were okay. I don't know, age is catching up, but also we know he's not been in his best health. So he seems quite frail, and his voice at this point, if my country, Kenya, was experiencing the kind of chaos that Nigeria is experiencing right now, and my president showed up sounding and like this, I don't know if I'll sleep at night. I think I'll be very worried. That does not inspire confidence at all. That does not inspire me at all as a citizen, of this country. That will make me not sleep at night, because that is the commander-in-chief of the country, and that is how he's sounding, very helpless there, asking what you want. You should know. You should have the solution. That is why you're the president, President Buhari. So if you don't know what people want, if you cannot engage, if you cannot find out, if you don't have the intelligence, really, you should have the questions. But he's wondering, what do you want? What do you want? Let me just read a few of your comments here. Maybe, you can tell Buhari what you want, because he's wondering what he wants, and he's lamenting there, asking, sounding very helpless. Nlewem Daniel Uzoma, good luck. You're saying the statement by Muhammadu Buhari is nothing but a threat to the Biafrans. He keep reminding us that he and his cohorts did to us during the 1967 to 1970 genocide against Biafrans. We can't forget, we can't forgive. Okay. And Mazi Chukwenyere Chima, you're saying the mask wearer must face justice. All right. Is Uchive, Izuchuko, you're saying The good intelligence reports he's getting is that his army are busy killing innocent citizens on a daily basis in the southeast of Nigeria. And you're saying, Mazi Chukwemere, you're saying, look, I think he's an old person, and also he's not been in his best health, so that also could be one of the reasons there that General Buhari looks very tired, very uninspiring. I don't know. No wonder the state of things are like that there in Nigeria. I think perhaps he needs to just go relax and just look after his health. He doesn't seem okay there. He doesn't seem all right. And we know President Buhari has had a bit of health issues. And so maybe that has taken his time away from focusing on things that really matter to the country of Nigeria. But he's saying, hey, for you who are, who wants to secede, like, what do you want? President Buhari is unaware of what you want and why you even think it's a good idea to want to secede. And he's reminding you that for those who are calling for this secession, for those who thinks it's a good idea to call, to want to leave Nigeria, to agitate, to make these kinds of agitation, he's warning you that the government will shock you. His government will shock you. Can this government shock Boko Haram for once? I think I'll be glad to see that happen. All right, but he's saying he will shock you because his government will not allow, and he's asking there, what do you want? After all, I'm leading the country according to the Constitution of Nigeria. So that is that. All right, so let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of that press conference by President Buhari yesterday. So another thing that I would like to bring to our attention this afternoon is that the African Union, that is the story on Mali, the African Union has suspended Mali from the bloc following last week's military coup for the second time in 9 months. The first was last August following a military coup, but the country was reinstated after the heads of a civilian-led transitional government was announced. Now that the administration has been overthrown, and so once again Mali finds itself excluded. And earlier, I think was it yesterday, Mali's transitional president, Gov't, renamed another country's civilian prime minister in the name of Chaguel Kokala. Okay, so right now the African Union has suspended Mali. I think when we were having this conversation on Monday, ECOWAS had just suspended Mali, and I was asking, why is African Union taking so much time? Because if the army has assumed the leadership of Mali, then obviously that should have had them removed, suspended from African Union immediately. So AU took its time there. Maybe it was just hoping that maybe things would change, but things have not changed, and so now they've been suspended from the African Union after ECOWAS did so. Was it on Monday or Sunday? But ECOWAS first suspended Mali, and the AU called for the military to urgently and unconditionally return to the barracks and to refrain from further interference in the political processes in Mali. It warned that if the military did not hand back power to civilian transitional leaders, the council will not hesitate to impose targeted sanctions and other punitive measures. Condemning the coup in the strongest terms possible, it added it was deeply concerned about the evolving situation in Mali and its negative impact on the gains made thus far in the transitioning process in the country. The move follows a similar suspension on Sunday. Yes, that was on Sunday, of the Economic Community of West African States, that is ECOWAS. Now, the coup has sparked deep concerns over stability in the volatile Sahel region and warnings of economic penalties from across the international community. And of course, Colonel Assimi Goïta was at ECOWAS Crisis Summit in Ghana on Sunday to argue that military case, but has now returned to Mali. He went there to argue the military case, but they could not hear him. So last October, him and other officers overthrew elected President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta, following mass protests over perceived corruption and a bloody insurgency. After the takeover, the military agreed to appoint civilians as interim president and prime minister under the pressure of ECOWAS trade and financial sanctions. So, okay, very well. So now Mali has been isolated. ECOWAS did the same last week, and now we see on Sunday, and now AU has come up and has suspended Mali from the bloc. But in a move that provoked a diplomatic uproar, so just last week detained transitional President Bando and Prime Minister Mokhtar Wane, releasing them on Thursday while saying that they had resigned. Mali's constitutional court completed Goita's rise to full power on Friday by naming him transitional president, and ECOWAS was like, we're not having it. So now AU has also said, you know what, you can eat your tomatoes. We're not having you in the African Union until a civilian, a civilian leader is at the helm of Mali, because as long as you're led, I will remind us, as long as you're led by the military is the head of the state in any country in Africa. You cannot be part of the African Union. That is one of the key requirements. There has to be a civilian leader in any country for you to be a member of African Union. So now they have removed Mali. So we'll see how this will play out for Mali there. But as I said the other day, I think this is a very critical time to isolate Mali. But it's like this army, juntas, they're just asking for it because they knew very well what was at stake when they arrested the president and his prime minister and defense minister, and then came out and said they have resigned, and which they had not resigned. And then the army junta decided he's the head of state. They knew very well they will be suspended. So I think this is a very dangerous game that is being played here in a time where Sahel region has been ravaged by issues of insurgency, and Mali being one of them. So I think this is not good for that region, period. And isolating Mali at this point, countries like France that have been supporting, the fight against terrorism in Mali and the Sahel region is threatening sanctions and pulling out. The US already pulled out some help, I think, last week. And now France, if France goes and other countries goes, Mali already cannot even take care of itself. So it's going to create another avenue of more chaos in the Sahel region. So isolating Mali at this time might not be the good idea, but law is law. And if Mali chooses, if these military juntas, they choose to go against, the whatever that, is that they're supposed to be doing. They choose to do it their way and not adhere to the regulations for you to be part of the AU. So what now? They went against, the principles at ECOWAS. They went against the principles at AU. So now they're just on their own. And I think that is very dangerous. And I'm beginning to think there is some power play behind what we're seeing evolving there in Mali. It cannot be just the military junta deciding, okay, now this and that. There has to be something. And I think in the fullness of time, we will know what kind of house of cards is being played there in Mali. In the fullness of time, we will know. I don't think this is just them deciding to make these decisions. Somebody is pulling some strings somewhere, and this is very dangerous, especially for Sahel region right now. Okay, very well. So, all right, we were looking at, President Buhari, and of course other news that a former general that was survived an assassination in Uganda yesterday. His daughter was murdered, I think, with his he survived, and his driver, and that was very gruesome murder there. These targeted assassinations are very rampant in Uganda, so it's a no wonder. And also, I think, what was that? I had some news from the insecurity, of course, in South Sudan, and the latest Egypt, Sudan, the Nile dispute. Egypt and Sudan wrapped up days of war games on Monday. They've been doing some military drill along the Nile, and this military drill was termed Guardians of the Nile. So this is obviously an aggression towards Ethiopia. That is an aggression. That is an act of aggression. And Ethiopia has so much to deal with right now. President Abiy, not President, but the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has too much on his plate right now. And another aggression in the Nile River, that is not something that he wants to deal with already. They're having this disagreement on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam that Ethiopia, took 10 years to build, and now it's ready for filling, and Egypt is not agreeing with that. Sudan has joined the chorus, and South Sudan wanted to be invited to this chaos. I don't know why, as if they don't have enough things to deal with already. But, that is that. So I don't know how Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed will receive this new information of these Guardians of the Nile joint military drill that Sudan and Egypt has been carrying out on the Nile River that ended on Monday. And the chief of staffs from both countries say that they are ready to intervene militarily against the dam if needed. So I hear the drums of war. We don't need that. Not now. I mean, they've been talking. I know these talks have not yielded much, but still, keep talking. The drums of war, I don't think is the best thing we need. And then what? You fight over water, and then what? I think Egypt has been spoiling for this war because when you hear President Al-Fattah al-Sisi, when he's talking, he does not come in peace. He's coming with a lot of aggression. And I think Ethiopia has been able to stand up, to Egypt. And, they're not liking it very much. And talks have been held over and over. And each time they collapse, there's not been a headway in this talk. So we don't know the end of this. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Right. I don't know if I can get some of your comments. Chukusomo Onyeisori, you're saying, please come to our help. Okay. All right. What we can do is just talk. All right. And I think we've done that, and we do that because I think it's important. If President Buhari thinks the issue of insecurity, when people are raising the issue of insecurity, he wants to term that as people who want his administration to fail. Really? Children have been kidnapped in schools. Isn't that something that should worry you, Mr. President? And you're saying the people who are raising these issues are people who want you to fail. Your predecessor said you have already failed. Half of the country thinks you've already failed, President Buhari. And the issues that are being raised, you cannot minimize, these issues. They're very important. So you better start paying attention to what the people there want you to address. And one of the governors, former governors, they're saying that President Buhari will not be remembered for these other developmental, things that he's done, but he will be remembered by the increase of insecurity in Nigeria. And that's all we talk about here. Hardly do I come here with any good news from Nigeria. I mean, I'll be happy to report it, but every time it's about killings, every time it's about abductions, every time it's about, this is too much. It's completely out of hand, President Buhari. Please get your act in order. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Diaspora Dispatches. My name is Miriam Ogutu. It has been a pleasure. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.
Fellow Africans, since 1957, when Ghana gained independence, there has been quite a lot of political, social, economic indicators on the African continent that show that Africa has progressed from pre-independence Africa to post-independence Africa.
Ghana, your beloved country, is free forever. From now on, there is a new African in the world. That new African is ready to fight his own battle and show that, after all, the black man is capable of managing his own affairs.
66 years down the road, Africa finds itself with the first country, Ghana, having gained independence. We find ourselves still locked up, controlled, manipulated, instructed, logistically supplied, equipped by foreign powers that dictate our agenda. Africa is endowed with plenty of minerals, resources, good weather. The climate is so favorable for the growth of food, enough to sustain us. But we find ourselves in countries where hunger is killing people. Hunger is killing people because most of the people have taken to arms to fight wars, conflicts. starvation has taken the place of development in most African countries like Sudan, South Sudan, Central African Republic, Cameroon, Nigeria, in Biafra, and north of Nigeria there is Boko Haram, Somalia in the Horn of East Africa. We have taken to conflict instead of development. Development was the key indicator. When Kwame Nkrumah made the first speech that seek ye African political unity, economic development will come automatically, he was right. The events happening in Libya today vindicates Nkrumah, vindicates Nyerere, Sekou Toure, and Nasser, the founding fathers of our Pan-Africanism. The events happening in Central African Republic, in Congo today, as the war of rebels ranges on between the rebel and the rebels and the government and the rebels, vindicates the founding fathers of this revolution. Our independence, therefore, was only on paper. Our independence, therefore, was only in symbols. Our independence also was in signs. Our independence also was in boundaries. That we received our flags, but we never received full independence as by the word independence. Most of the 3/4 of African countries, French-speaking countries, have their budgets being done in Paris. Is that independence? The Paris government or the French government does its budgets based on how much they will get from African countries. Is that independence? Is this the Africa that you want? Is it the Africa that we must look at? Is it the Africa that we shall leave for the future generation? If the answer to you is yes, then so be it. But if the answer is no, you agree with me that this is not the Africa we want to live for the future generation. Our generations and the future generation need to find a legacy. What is the legacy that Africa and African Union will leave for the future generation? The wars ranging in Libya, in South Sudan, in Khartoum, in Mogadishu, in DRC Congo, in Amazonia, in Cameroon, Boko Haram, Mali, in Mauritania, the uprisings in Algeria, all point to one thing, that yes, we are not yet independent. We are still controlled by external forces. Thank you.